Alright, we are going live. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Probably thought I wasn't going to get this video up today. But no, you're wrong. I'm at work currently, but I just got off. But I'm definitely going to take time out of my day to make this video because I will upload Monday through Friday, excluding Saturday and Sunday, holding myself personally accountable what has happened in my day and how I've grown or failed. And if you're new to this series, welcome to the process where we focus on the process and we forget the outcome. This right here is not for the views. It's not for the YouTube. It's personally just for me because sometimes I motivate myself, but then I forget, I get lost. And so now I'm making a journey, a documentary, a record of something to come back to next time I'm struggling so I can remind myself some good words of wisdom and just to document the process. It's not the flashy stuff. This is the things no one really talks about the real uncut truth of entrepreneurship. It's tough. It's mostly about you going through a process, learning more about yourself than you are about some technical skill or money or any of that. So I just want to go through what happened today and how I grew, but more importantly, how I failed and how honestly I thought I lost all my progress that I had made so far. See, previously in a couple of days before, I was flowing effortlessly. I was going throughout my day, low internal resistance. It seemed as if every move I made was just effortless. When I say effortless, I mean literally no internal resistance, no conflicting thoughts, no negative thoughts, and I just seamlessly did the task and completed it. It was, the thing they call discipline. It was as if my day was disciplined and I just found myself completing my tasks naturally. And it was that was it. But today, and you see how I looked away from the camera when I said today, is because I feel as though my progress, I've been set back. Because today I found my stress for some reason. I don't know why. I just found myself stressed out. Like my heart rate was constantly up. And I just found myself really stressed out throughout the day. I do not know why. It wasn't like an excessive amount, but I wasn't in that flow. I wasn't in that effortless internal state where there was little to no conflicting thoughts. And I just wasn't in that flow. And so I've been trying to get back to it all day, and I just got back to it literally like before I came and recorded this. And I wasn't even going to make this video today, but I decided I'm still going to stay to my commitment. Now, I was having a high heart rate, which I knew that meant I was stressed out about something, but I didn't know what I was stressed out about, and I don't know why I was stressed out, and I don't know why I can't go back to my old way. I was having a very hard time this morning completing my math work, focusing. Like, I couldn't focus. Like, I just found myself not being able to focus, which made my work take even longer. And I was just wondering, like, why am I having such a hard time focusing? Why am I feeling a little bit stressed out today? Why is my day not effortless? I'm asking myself, and I feel like, am I erasing all my progress? Did I just go like 4 steps forward to go 8 steps back? Like, I kept asking myself all these questions, literally, because I felt like I erased all my progress, and that all the progress I did make was for nothing, and that's how I felt. And so all day I've been trying to figure out, like, how do I get back to what I was a couple of days ago, where it was just like amazing flow. I was happy. And, I haven't been feeling so happy lately, like the elated sense of joy. I haven't been feeling free, like stress-free, burden-free, not worry-free. Because I was feeling like all of those things just like a couple days ago. I'm like, why is today so different? And so I came into work, still not focusing. But one thing I love about my work is that I'm always training my mind to refocus. And so while I was here, I was trying to figure out what can I do to get back to, like, let me give you an example. I run every day. Not run every day. I work out every morning. Every morning, I wake up around 2:45, except for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. But I wake up around 2:45 a.m. I study my business stuff, and then at 4:50, I'm working out until 6 a.m. So roughly about like 450 to 550. Now, I didn't used to do that before I went to the military for basic training. But after being there for almost 5 months working out every single day, and I come back, it's just who I am. And I kept trying to figure out, like, how can I get back to that? Like, how can I transfer? Like, I woke up this morning and just easily went and ran 2 miles and came back. And it wasn't like a hard run, it was just like a light jog because I just did a lot of physical training the day before. But I would have never done that before. And I'm like, how can I recreate that level of discipline that I work out every single morning in other areas of my life? If I've done it once, I know I can do it again. And one thing I realized is I started walking myself through this process of what I've done. And while I was at basic training, I mean, I absolutely hated the first 2 to 3 weeks. Every day I woke up, it was PT at the crack of dawn at 4:30 in the morning, and I hated it. I literally hated it. I wanted to be anywhere else in the world except there. And so I was just like, what process, like, how did I go from hating PT every morning to now waking up every single morning and just doing it like it's nothing? And I was trying to figure that out, and I realized that the first 2 to 3 weeks, literally, it was just me fighting, like me fighting myself internally in my head, like, oh, I don't want to do PT in the morning, I don't want to wake up, oh, if I, like, I was going to bed stressed out because I knew when I woke up in the morning I was going to have to do PT, and I hated PT. Like, not only did I wake up starving, I woke up knowing that it was 4:30 and I probably wasn't going to eat till 7, and I didn't know how I was going to make it through those couple of hours. Now, there came a point in time when it got to the point where it was too much. Like, I was mentally tired of fighting myself with the conflicting and negative thoughts of being stressed out. Like, it was too much for me. It was too much to be stressed out about working out every morning. So eventually my mind said, forget it. I just said, forget being stressed out. Like, I can't handle it anymore. It's too much. Nothing's ever going to change, so I might as well just accept it. So at that point, I just started accepting, like, hey, I wake up in the morning, I'm going to have to do PT. And eventually I started telling myself, like, hey, man, I love PT. Like, I love PT. Like, I don't know why, but eventually I just woke up one morning, like 2, 3 weeks in. I was just like, man, I love PT. Like, I can't wait for PT. Like, we got PT this morning. That's amazing. Now I can push myself. And, like, yeah, it was still hard and I still had to struggle, like, working out. But, like, I wasn't mentally fighting myself. I didn't have a mental stress. Like, I accepted it and I created a belief statement saying, hey, I love PT. I can't wait to work out. I was actually motivated and energized and ready and wanted to work out in the morning. So I looked forward to it. And it was just, oh, did I forget my water bottle? I just realized I forgot my water bottle. I gotta go back in and get that. But I realized that I knew I was forgetting something, but focus. But it was just that, like, that change when I started when I went from fighting it to just accepting how it was. That's when everything dropped off and it was stress free. And I was just like, man, this is a lot more easier. Like, it's a lot easier just to accept reality than to try to, like, work so hard to change it. And when I say that, be very careful, because I'm not trying to say accept the negative things you have in life. I'm saying accept and don't fight the process. Because so many times we get attached to the outcome and we're struggling with current reality. I'm saying accept current reality through the process on the way to the outcome. Now, what I'm saying is this: like, I started accepting it, right? Stop saying, hey, man, like, oh, man, I can't, I hate PT. I started saying, man, hey, I'm gonna have to do PT in the morning either way. I might as well just accept it. Like, once I was just like, yo, I'm done trying to fight it, I'm just accept it. You know what? I love PT. Like, literally, I love PT. Like, I can't wait for PT. Once I started telling myself that, PT became easy. It became effortless. Like, literally, I would wake up, I would do PT, get it over with, and then it went throughout my day. It became nothing. I didn't have to think about it. And I realized that change occurred once I accepted it. And then once I accepted it, I told myself those belief statements that I love PT. I can't wait for PT. I'm looking forward to PT. And now I'm realizing, just going back through it, that every time I did PT, I would just tell myself that thing. I would just tell myself those same belief statements. And then those belief statements would be reinforced every time I told myself while taking the action. Because I found myself before saying, okay, I have a vision for what I want to do, but I'm not taking the action. But when I realized that, like, back at training, this was before I went to training, like, I had a vision, but I wasn't disciplined and I wasn't taking the action that I needed to do. And so now I realize, like, I didn't necessarily, like, I always had a vision that I wanted to be physically fit. Like, vague, I think most people, maybe, but they want to be physically, they want to be in better shape. Like, most people can imagine themselves in a better shape. Like, can't you imagine yourself in better shape, right? But it's getting to it that's difficult. And I realized that, yes, I had that vision that I wanted, but it wasn't until I accepted the work that I had to put in every single day that the work became effortless in terms of execution. Now, I'm not saying that the workout was easy. I'm saying the internal resistance dropped off once I accepted the fact that it was going to be hard work every single day. Once I knew what to expect, then it was a lot easier to complete, to execute, if that makes sense. So once I accepted the expectation, then I was able to execute effortlessly with no internal resistance, or little to none. But and that's one thing I've been trying to replicate in other areas of my life. Because another example is, everyone there was like, we are there for 9 weeks, and so we're like, okay, that's 9 Sundays, 8 Sundays left, 6 Sundays left. I immediately stopped. I was like, after the first, like, I don't understand how people were focusing on 9 weeks, and I could barely make it to lunch because we were getting smoked every single hour. Like, we were getting smoked in between lunch, breakfast, and dinner. So they were trying to make it 9 weeks. I was just trying to make it to breakfast, from breakfast to lunch, from lunch to dinner, from dinner to bed, because my body would be so tired from working out all day. I would pass out. We would get smoked in the morning, go to PT, get smoked during PT for doing the wrong exercise, and still have to complete the exercise. If we didn't do the exercise correct, we got smoked again and still had to finish the exercise. So my body was just tired all day from working out. And it was just like I was doing that same thing. I was fighting it. I was like, man, what can I do not to get smoked today? What can I do not to get smoked today, right? And like, oh, even if I did everything perfect, I still messed up something because I didn't know, or someone else messed up something. So now everybody has to get smoked. And it was just like, man, I just need to, like, after I stopped like trying to be so perfect and just accepted reality, like, hey, we're gonna get smoked. Like, you can do your best, but at the end of the day, it's basic training. You're going to get smoked. That's what you came here for. That's what's going to happen. Even if you do everything perfect, they're still going to smoke you. So just accept the fact. And then I was like, hey, if we get smoked, it's just a free workout. What's the difference between getting smoked and the workout? Nothing. So it's just free PT. So once I accepted reality, and then I realized I put those belief statements, like, hey, I changed my mind. So I'm changing what doing it means to me. So at first, doing it meant as a punishment, but now doing it means it's free PT, it's a free workout, I'm making myself better. So once I changed what I'm doing from negative to something that's improving and positive, something I can relate to and something I connect with, and something that helps me, once I put a new perspective on it, then it helps reinforce the reality and reinforce the perspective. They work hand in hand together. So now my new perspective is reinforced every time it happens, because my new perspective is an expectation. And so every time that expectation is met, my perspective, every time the expectation is met, me getting smoked, okay, now my perspective is reinforced. And now every time my perspective is reinforced, I'm able to execute effortlessly, because I only have internal resistance once I do something that I don't expect. Like, when your expectations aren't met, that's when, Like when my expectations aren't met, that's when I get internal resistance because it's not going my way. But once I put reality in line with my expectations with a new perspective, now it's in a sort of way going my way, so I don't have to worry about anything because I'm like, okay, this is what's expected, you know? Like when you go to the grocery store and you have to pay for something, you're not surprised about it. Like, yeah, when you go in the grocery store, you might be surprised by the price, but no one goes in the grocery store expecting anything free, right? So it's the same way. And so that's what I'm realizing, just like talking through it. And just, I find if you're not talking through it, like just open up an audio and start talking to yourself and just try to work through it. Because this is what I'm really doing right now to help work through it with myself. And so now what I'm doing now is I'm struggling with math and just like studying. And I realize I have to work more on my identity, and that identity becomes from the perspective and the belief statements and accepting reality. So step one is to accept reality. Whatever you're struggling with, you're going to struggle with. So look, right now you're struggling with math and you're fighting it internally, but stop fighting it. Stop fighting it, okay? Stop fighting it. Just accept that it's going to be hard. When you learn something, you can't expect to understand it at first. You don't have to be perfect. No one's perfect except Jesus. So you don't have to be perfect. So just know when you learn something new, or even going back to relearn something, you're probably not going to get it the first time. You're going to have to go through it again. You're going to struggle with it. You're going to correct it, right? You're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn from it. You're going to correct it. And you're going to eventually go back and learn it again and correct it again and learn it again. Struggle with it some more until you understand it. And then once you understand it, you can work on practicing it and mastering it. And then you'll just move on to the next concept. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to be new. But what's what you're going to do? You're going to make it simple. Because math is simple. Everything in your life you can turn and make it simple. Find out how to make it simple. Math is simple. You can understand it. What do you understand? What do you not understand? What do you understand? What don't I understand? What do I understand? What don't I understand? Math is simple. Okay, I'm struggling with it. I understand that. Here's what I do. Here's what I do understand. I understand this specifically, but I don't understand this specifically. Okay, it might be a little bit frustrating, but hey, you're going to learn from it. You're going to go through it again because you're not going to get it the first time all the time. So you're going to keep going through it and going through it again, making corrections. And every time you make a correction, you learn something new. You learn what not to do next time. You learn how to do something differently. And this is the process of learning. So you're learning to learn. So go through it again, correct yourself. And guess what? Eventually you're going to get better. Give it time. You're not going to get it overnight. You might not even get it in one day or 1 week. But you have to give it time. And you have to realize this is the process of making it simple at first. Knowing what you know. Knowing what you don't know. Making the corrections. Going through it again and again until you understand it. And struggling with it. Knowing you're going to struggle with it. Expecting to struggle with it. And it being okay. And eventually, you'll understand it, given enough time and given this process. And that process equals the outcome of you understanding it. And you know what happens? You're going to repeat this process your entire life. And that right there is hard for me to accept a little bit. That I have to repeat this process my entire life. But when you look at it, that's all life really is. I'm definitely going to come back to this video probably every day, because that's just something that I need to work on. It's just now that I've accepted this process, hey, now here's some belief statements. That right there is my belief statement, what I just said. And number two, some other ones are, math is simple. Make it simple. Too often, I look at something new and it's all complicated and I overwhelm myself. But no, just make it simple. Accept and make it simple. Accept it and make it simple. I love numbers. I love math. Who doesn't, I love the way math can help show the relationship between so many things in life. Really, I do. I love the way that when you make a mistake, you can always find an answer. And if you don't, you can eventually try to, because that's life. I love the way numbers make sense, even though they don't always. And that's life too. But yeah, that's just why, you know what? Accept reality, make belief statements with a new perspective, and then just take action every single day. And that action will reinforce the perspective, reinforce the belief statements, and that will make it less internal resistance. That way, when you go through it, you have an expectation, and that expectation is being met every single time. And when it's being met, it's going to make it effortlessly. Thank you for tuning in if you did. Like I said, I'm definitely coming back to this video, because this video is, man, this is a breakthrough I made through today. Just talking it out and trying to see what I can do to get that identity in line with other areas of my life and replicate the same success I have to do with cardio and working out in the morning. See you guys till next time.